Good morning. Today is December 23rd. This is Brian, your cynical mystic. And today was another day that a card fell out while I was doing the read. The card that fell out today is the Three of Wands. This was also an interesting read because I tried to pull one card and two came. The King and Queen of Swords would not be separated. Now, you may remember that the Queen is also, is also a 3, right? The 3 and the Queen are the same. They're both in Binah. And the King, as you might expect, represents Chokmah. So we're dealing with swords, we're dealing with air, primal air. And we're dealing with specific fire and specific water in primal air. Also, because we're dealing with Chokmah and Binah, we're dealing with the supernal triangle here. We're talking about the divine masculine essence and the divine feminine essence from which all creation down the tree of life on all planes manifests. So let's talk just a little bit about the supernal triangle. Kether, the crown, the heavens, is non-being. It invites the wonderful statement, nothing is real. Kether is nothing. And from nothing comes everything. The one begets the two. Well, the one begets the two. Because here, okay, we got to talk about Genesis 2, I suppose. So, we have nothing. The great, vast, empty. And the nothing spawns creation. And the masculine comes first. When you talk about the Genesis story, which is certainly a tale of mysteries beyond the myth, we're talking about from something designated as asexual, from the Wuji, from the vast, empty nothing, comes first a masculine. Because a masculine is an outpouring, right? So you go from pure potential of nothing to this limitless outpouring power. From that, it's refined. The Eve came out of the rib of Adam. The phallus starts, and it creates, in a sense, the receiving energy, which then molds and shapes and forms the laws for the 10,000 things. The one begets two, the two begets three, and from three come 10,000 things. So we're talking about one and two. We're talking about Binah and Chokmah, which means we're talking about creation and or destruction. And because we're talking about swords, it really is destruction. The destructive nature of these cards is not really shown here in the Rider-Waite deck, but if you look at especially Crowley's deck, you will see the violence that's inherent in this air energy, this primal air, because it's the mind. And so this is the prime cutting through all the bullshit day for the mind. We started looking at a lot of illusions and shedding them, and that's been a theme lately. But today is really that final swipe. If we were looking at Aleister Crowley's Queen of Swords, she'd be holding a severed head. It's a day for releasing the mind. And because we have the Three of Wands, it's also a day very much for engaging the spirit, for turning from a mental reflection, allowing the emptiness to take the thought away from the reflection as we consider the path of Kof. So we have an as above, so below situation today in this read. We've looked many times at the pathway of judgment from Malkuth to Hod. So now, here we are, the action of the day goes from Malkuth to Netzach, from earth to salt or desire. In this world where all things are possible, when our mental constraints are released, our actions lead us to the place where we know that we really can have anything that we want. We don't really need to want. The thought of the day is the Knight of Cups. Night, specific air. In the cups, primal water. So as we release our thoughts today and allow that energy of the supernal creation and destruction of Chokmah and Binah, allowing ourselves to transcend what we think we are, what we think we need. In fact, allowing that to get smashed a little bit today. Taking actions from Malkuth to Kof. Allowing our emotional connections, our connections to the subtle energies of our life, to the people we care about, to our relationships, allowing those to take the forefront, and keeping our thoughts also there, rooting down, so that in a world where nothing is real, Kether, and nothing matters, we can keep our thoughts at Tifereth, the beauty point. Thank you. Be well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to comment. This is Brian, your Cynical Mystic, sounding off the day before Christmas Eve.